In the previous class, you have learned the English grammar, right? In today's class, you are going to learn the first chapter of the English lesson. You have 6 lessons for this sem, okay? And in that, you are going to learn the first lesson, that is grandmother's stories, okay? You are going to learn the lesson, that is grandmother's stories. Before going for that lesson, okay, we will dictate some words here. See here. These are the words with the short A sound. There will be a sound of A while you are spelling these words. See here. Pan, jam, map, can. Okay. These are the words with the A sound. Now, here the words with the E sound. Okay. Those are beg, pen, red. These are the words with the short E sound. Okay. And the words with the short I sound. Those are dig, pin, lip. So, these are the words with the short A sound and E sound and I sound. So, these are the words. Okay. Now, we will go with the story. Here, have you ever spent time with your grandparents? Okay. You have spent any time with your grandparents, and your grandparents may also told many stories for you, right? You have learnt many stories from your grandparents, okay? Now, today I will narrate one story that is about the grandmother's stories, okay? Now, we will go with the lesson, okay? Let us read a story about a grandmother and her granddaughter, Lalita. They spend time together sharing stories and photographs. Here comes a grandmother and also her granddaughter. The granddaughter name is Lalita. She was listening stories with her grandmother. Okay. They spend time together here and they were sharing some stories and photographs in this lesson. Okay. Now I will start to read the lesson. Okay. Just point out, open your textbook while watching this video and start to point where I start the reading. Okay. Point there where I will start the reading. Okay. Now, Lalita was waiting impatiently for the clock to strike 9. Grandma finished her prayers and walked into the living room. She asked Lalita if she wanted to listen to a story. But today, Lalita wanted to see Grandma's childhood photographs. So here comes Lalita. Lalita is a granddaughter for her grandmother. And she was waiting. For what she was waiting? She was waiting for her grandma to see the picture of her grandma from her childhood. So, she was waiting. She was eagerly waiting. Here, the word impatiently means able to. She was not able to wait. She was eagerly waiting to know about the grandma's story. She wanted to know the grandma's childhood photographs. So, she was waiting for that. Okay. Now, grandma smiled and walked towards the cupboard. She took out her old photo album. Lalita jumped with joy. She eagerly waited for the photograph that she would see that day. Grandma chose one photograph. Every photograph in Grandma's album had an interesting story to tell. Every time I show you a picture, I give you a piece of my heart, Grandma told Lalita. Now, Grandma was supposed to enter near the cupboard. So, she wanted to pick the photo album from her cupboard, and she was showing that to the Lalita, and Lalita was eagerly waiting to see that photos of her grandma's childhood. So she took a photo from the grandma's childhood. Okay, she was seeing that, she was watching those photos of the grandma's childhood, and grandma was finally choose the one photograph there, and she was narrating a story about that photograph. So every photograph has a interesting story to tell, right? You might have a many photographs of your grandma's childhood. See those photos from your previous albums, from your grandparents' albums. You just see those photos. You will understood, and you will get enjoying. You will be enjoying those photos, right? So just check those things. Like that, Lalita was also enjoying to see her grandma's childhood photos. Now, on that day, Grandma showed her a picture of herself in which she was standing in the field. There was a scarecrow next to her. This picture was taken when she was 7 years old. She and her friends had made the scarecrow together. Grandma then told Lalita a story. She said that one day she had dressed up like a scarecrow and scared many children of her village. So, in that picture, the photograph in which she was showing, in that photograph, there was a scarecrow. Here, the scarecrow means it is the figure which will be made in the farms and fields. Okay, in farms there are many crops will be grown in the farms, right? Those crops will be eaten by the birds sometimes. So to scare those birds, there will be a figure standing in the farms and fields. You might have seen in the farms there will be a figure which will be it will be made with the it will be made with the hay, means it will be made with some materials, some toys like materials. It will be made and it will be standing like this. Okay, in that in the next to the scarecrow there is a grandma will be standing like that. So it was the photo. In that photo there was a scarecrow, and beside that there will be a grandma standing there. So it was about the photo. So it was taken when she was 7 years old. When she was 7 years old, then that photo was taken. Okay. That scarecrow, it is made by the grandmother and her friends. Grandmother and her friends together made that scarecrow. Okay, and she also told that, grandma also told that she had dressed up like a scarecrow and she scared many children of the village. She dressed up like a scarecrow, okay, and she was scaring everyone in the village. Okay, this is told by the grandma to the Lalita. Okay, Lalita laughed. Grandma, you should tell your stories to the whole world, she said. They are such interesting stories. Some of them are funny, many are wise. I have an idea. You should write the story of your life, said Lalita. So, after listening to that she has made some scarecrow dress and she was standing like this and she was scaring some children. Grandma was scaring some children. By listening to that story, she has laughed. Lalita was laughed and she told that you should tell the story to the whole world. It is very funny and also it is a wise thing, right? So, I have an idea. You should write a story of your life. So, there were many photographs in the album, no? So, you should write each story about the one photo, okay? Each photo. For each photo, you should write the story. Lalita said. Lalita said to her grandma. Why will people want to read the story of my life? Grandma asked. Grandma asked, why the people want to see the story of my life? Why they will read the story of my life? Right? Grandma asked curiously. So, there is so much that everyone can learn from your life, answered Lalita. Lalita answered that there is a much more lessons which we will learn from your life. Grandma thought about it. She felt that it was a good idea. They decided to write the story behind each and every photograph. Grandma felt happy about that, and she also told that writing each story for each photograph will be the good thing, and they decided to write the stories of each and every photograph. She wanted to write the stories from each and every photograph here. So, here it is the lesson, the grandmother's stories. Okay, children, I hope you have understood, and also you just collect the pictures. Okay, firstly you should write one story about your grandma's stories. Your grandma might have told many stories for you, right? Pick any one of that story and write it, and collect some picture regarding that. Okay, regarding that story. If she told you about the crow and the if she has told you about the lesson of about the story about the crow, then you should collect the picture of crow, pick up there, stick it in your book, and beside that you can write one story regarding to that. Okay, you should do this.